Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Spiritual Psychics TV. First of all, can I ask everybody to share? Share straight away. Share straight away. And if you put your name up, tell me where you're from. Okay, my name is Marcus Lapsa, and this evening is going to be slightly different. It's going to be slightly different. I've been talking to Richard about this. I'm really excited about tonight, to be honest with you, because this is what I've been doing for years. And over the last couple of years, I've done a lot of online services, in-person services, and everything else. And over maybe about 30 years, I've taught psychic and mediumistic development. And my style of teaching is quite down to earth. Is a few people, on SBTV would understand a part of what I teach and how I teach. But what I'm gonna do tonight, I'm gonna do messages. I'm gonna link with spirit as we do, and it's all free. And this is why we ask you to share, and get as many people involved as we can, because the thing is, there's so much out there, and quite often you have to pay through the nose for it. But with SBTV, you don't have to pay a penny. You don't have to pay anything. So all this is free. And what I'm going to do tonight, I'm going to show you, and I mean you, everybody, how you can develop your abilities. We're going to take a couple of, if you want to fire a question at me, then fire a question. I'll try to deal with it in a responsible way. But I'll tell you now, I'm going to be me. I'm not going to be here to be controversial. I'm not going to be here to upset anybody, but I'm going to strip away some of the nonsense that is out there. And I mean nonsense, because quite often everybody likes to say, oh, I do this, or I do that, so I'm a medium, or I'm a psychic, or I'm this, or I'm that. And really, all it is, everybody is the same. We all have an ability. Now, first may be controversial, and thing that you might think that I'm going to say is, yep, I've just been told to say some of those first, but I was so excited. I told Richard, I said, I'm like a little kid. I'm a little kid. Good evening, Stace. Stace, how lovely. Debbie. Oh, Debbie. Oh, no, Debbie, you can back me up on a couple of these things, because Deb and I have worked together quite a few, and she knows what I'm really like. You see a certain side of me. Good evening, Wendy. You see a certain side of me, but Deb knows the real me, and a little bit of the real me is going to come out tonight. Rachel! Oh, I've missed you, my bestie. Hopefully I'm not going to upset you, Rachel, or any other working mediums. Oh, more than passionate, Rebecca, more than passionate, especially tonight. And as I said, I'm not gonna say anything to be controversial. I'm gonna put across my view of how we develop abilities, how we go forward, and how we communicate, and throw out some of the nonsense. Hello, Lacey Lawrence. And the first thing, hi from Essex. Oh, Natalie. Well done, Natalie. She put where she's from. Evening, Mark's Linda from Croydon. Yeah, I've been to Croydon, I think. I've been through it anyway. Michelle Brewbridge. Louisiana. Oh, American friends. Good evening. Oh, I love our American friends. Mome, I Mome. And I can remember when I went to Vegas. I went to Las Vegas, and it was fantastic. I always wanted to go to Vegas. And the first thing I did was find a spiritualist church there, and went along and to one of their open circles. I had a great time there, Sarah, good evening. Anyway, the first thing, South Africa. Oh, wow. I don't know if you've been on before, Nolene, but the picture behind me is Malawi. It was when I was in Malawi a few months ago. Portsmouth, that's better, Rebecca. Well done. I was in Malawi after the cyclone from Atlantic Canada. Oh, Canada. Oh, we're hitting the world. We're hitting the world tonight, and we only just need someone. Oh, Andrea Fremantle. I thought that was Amanda Fremantle, because I know I used to play rugby with the Fremantles in Coventry. Julie Kane Campbell, Scotland, Nottingham. Oh, Nottingham's close to my heart because that's where my wife had an operation that allowed us to have our daughter. Emma, Essex. Okay, right. As we're going to go, I've said some few hellos because Richard told me off straight away. Good evening, Joanne. He said, you've got to say a few hellos. But I was so excited about tonight. Now, tonight is going to be some readings, some communication, hopefully. I say hopefully because I know Spirit are already with me. And I always say to Spirit, don't bother even saying anything. Don't give me any feelings until I'm supposed to work. And they've said, they said tonight, it says, oh, well, we are doing what we usually do. And the thing is, and what I'm going to try to do, if you've got a question, fire a question me, but it needs to be around development. It needs to be about your abilities. It needs to be about maybe what you're having trouble with, because there's so much nonsense out there. I was telling Richard, I went down to Letchlade the other day to do an in-person service, and Edinburgh, lovely city, Edinburgh. Good evening, Diane. And I went down to Letchlade and I'd finished work, and I've got a transit van. So I thought, well, do I go home? It's going to take me 40 minutes to get home, 40 minutes to get back to where I am, and I've still got to go down to Letchlade. So I carried my clothes in the car, got down to Letchlade, changed in the back of the van like a bag lady, and then went and did the service. And we had a really good night, really, really good night. And quite often you get some of the people that teach this psychic mediumistic development that say what you have to do. You have to sit quietly in the energy. Sit quietly in the energy. Reach out to spirit and make sure you have a contact before you start. Well, the thing is, when you're battling about in the back of a transit van just before you walk onto a service, you can't sit down and for half an hour hoping that spirit are going to be there, And the thing is, quite often, because this type of thing, and I say type of thing because for the first time ever, a possible client asked how long I'd had this gift, and it's hard to find genuine mediums. Your views. My views. Oh, Wendy, right. First of all, it's not gifts. First of all, to my, it's not a gift. It's not a gift. You would say a gift, and a lot of mediums do say a gift. To me, it's not a gift. It's not a gift. It's an ability. We all have that ability. And I would say, Wendy, and I know the way you've worked, and I see the way you work, Wendy. I would say you've had it all your life, and you know that. Whether you would admit to it or not is another thing, because quite often people don't admit for different parts of their lives that they have that ability. And quite often, have you ever heard you say, and I've heard this, I've heard so many people say this, and I'm not making fun of anybody, okay? These are just my views, They say, but I'm a natural medium. And I think, well, you're a medium. You're not, how can you be an unnatural medium? You're a natural medium. And it's a way in which they try to say that, oh, I recognized it when I was a child. I recognized it there, so I'm a genuine medium, this, that, and the other. Not the fact that maybe picked up quite a lot of bad habits along the way and lack of discipline. No, I feel it can only come when Mum passed and was truthful but didn't like the question. No, I feel it only came out when Mum passed and was truthful but didn't like the question. Right, so Wendy, are you saying that your abilities came to the fore, bubbled away, and then when your mum passed, but if you'd looked at how you'd approached your life, how you picked up information, how you would be able to go, like I've got someone with me now, and I'll just understand that because I'm I talk with my hands a lot anyway. But earlier on, if you notice, I scratched the back of my head, and I know that was a bloke. So the thing is, quite often, if we look at what we are doing naturally, normally, and then think, oh, I don't usually do yes when I'm past my ability came to the fore. Yeah. But the thing is, Wendy, your ability was there. See, your ability was there. Nobody come along and said, oh, your mum's passed now, or I've got a gift for you. Nobody said that. So your ability came to the fore, but your ability's there. And when your ability's there, it's up to you as an individual whether you are going to develop it and be truthful about it. Deb will back me up on this. When I teach psychic and mediumistic development, if you're in a group, I used to do it for about 6 weeks at a time, so people could leave if they wanted to, nice and gently. But I would not allow anybody, not one person in until they stood there at the door and said, I am a medium. Because I thought, if you're not going to come with a positive attitude that you are a medium, albeit you don't want to tell people you're a medium, then why are you here? Why do you want to develop the abilities? Because quite often that is the part that people are frightened of, because they don't want ridicule. They don't want people to think and say, oh, well, if I'm a medium, I have to give all these flowery messages. No, a medium is someone that is communicating with those that have lived and those that are in spirit. That's what a medium is. It's simple. Nothing earth-shattering. It's simple. So if you talk to your mum and you get an answer, you talk to your uncle, you get an answer, you have a conversation, you get that little bit of proof, you're a medium. Simple. That's simple. Anyway, as I was saying, earlier on, I had this bloke, and his name's Jack, by the way, and he made me touch the back of my neck. And that is a little habit that he had. Now, the thing is, these type of signals we quite often miss because we're talking, we're looking at the screen, or even in person. However, I declined hers, didn't want to be tested under that pressure. That's the problem, see, Wendy. And now, see, this is really good, because this is dealing with a lot of things, and hopefully other people will be able to understand that. You declined it because you didn't want to be tested under that pressure. What it is, it took you out of your comfort zone. You knew your mum was there. You knew that you could chat to her. You knew you were going to get the answers, but you wouldn't really say, oh yeah, and tell everybody else, because you didn't want to be under that pressure. And that was, if you put yourself out of your comfort zone and you get that evidence, then there you go. Rubber stamped it, isn't it? And quite often what we say to spirit, anyway, this Jack's there, and he's just made me scratch my neck again. So this Jack's, and do you know the way that I just couldn't get my words out then? That was Jack, is because that's one of his signals to say that was part of my personality, and people would recognize that if they think about it. He says, you can give them the birthday, you can give them this, you can give them that. He says, but the characters, to prove this survival, it's to get the characters, to get under the skin of the character and see them as they are. I can remember when I was developing in a spiritualist church, and that's where I developed my abilities. I can remember them saying, like attracts like. And I thought, oh God, I'm going to have all of them around me then, because I love everybody. And I love the rough sleeper on the street to the CEO that I chat to somewhere else. So I'm going to have them all. But quite often they said that. I can take them, right, Mome, right. The thing is, Mome, is did he sort of, when he was speaking, did he stutter a little bit until he was starting? And Mo, because as I leant forward like this to the camera, I got pain in my back, and that would be either you or someone very close to you. And that's the signals that they send. And this is where you use your abilities and notice every single thing that's going on. And the thing is, Mome, the jack made me, you couldn't see it obviously, but he made me dribble. He made me dribble out of the right hand side of my mouth. And I said, "Is that you, Jack?" He said, "Oh, no, no, no. That was Mary. That was Mary. Mary used to have a little hanky and used to dab like that." And quite often it was, I don't know what it was. He died before I was born, so I'm not sure. The pain in the back. Yes, it's me. Okay, Mo, well, let me just work with you, and you'll have to bear with me because I'm explaining things as I go along. My eyes just went out to focus. I've got a big screen behind me, so I don't have to wear my glasses. Yes, and you got Mary. Okay. The thing is with Mary, though, because soon as you see, soon as we get this little bit of feedback, I'm not saying the link gets stronger, but quite often it's like not ticking the box. It's like crossing the T and dotting the I, because this Mary's just got close now as I just read it then, and she says, "Yeah, what was with the hanky?" She said, but oh, thank you for that, Mo. She said, but it was like now and again I used to have a coleslaw. And notice that she didn't say cold sore, she said coleslaw. And she used to get her words mixed up a little bit because that's the way she made me say it. And she just made me put my hand up like this. And she said, "Oh, right, well, Mary was, oh, okay, all right." And she made me put my hand up there, and she just said, "You know, I have to put my hand up there is because my breath was bad." She said, "Quite often, because I used to have bilious attacks." And she said, "Put your hand up there." Yeah, with the words mixed up. She said, "Put your hand up there is because," and notice the way she's changed the way I'm talking. "Yes, you put it there." She said, "Because my breath was a bit bad at times." She said it was a bit bad. And I used to try to do things for it, but she just put, and that's why she made me put her hand up. Now the Jack's come in and he says, "Well, if you take 2 of those fingers away, you're left with 3. And he said, "There's 2 brothers and that, because you're 2 fingers." And he's just said 2 brothers and a sister. And that's how they got me to that. You see, 2. So I'm not saying it's Jack's 2 brothers and sister, but that's how they get information across. And this is the abilities that we were talking about earlier. Now, they've just said, and I say they because it's as if it's, see, I just scratched my ear. And I said they just said because it's as if somebody, this is to do with the situation around you, Mome. It's you being pulled from pillar to post. Somebody's talking in this year, someone's talking in that year, and you just don't know which way to go. But they also pulled my ear there. They said, just feel that, Marcus, just feel that. It's a little bit probably Jack's 2 brothers and sisters. Oh, I do. As I said, they didn't tell me, but if he had 2 brothers and sisters, that the thing is, it's not necessarily that I got the information or he got the information. The important thing is the way he did it. He made me take 2 fingers away, and there was 2 separates, 2 brothers and a sister. Yes, situation exactly. Okay. Now, going back to the ear, see, because I nearly missed that again, and they made me do it again. They did. It says, because it was a little bit hairy. It was a little bit hairy. And, it's just the way it is. And that was the Mary. And they just said, she's made my my nose run a little bit. Said, "Oh, just, as if I want to, it's not really running. It's just a feeling that it's running, as if I want to sort of either, not necessarily blow my nose." And again, this is one of the signals, is because that's someone this side. That's someone this side that suffers with nasal problems and sinus problems. I say nasal because they made me touch my nose And then someone said, sinus. Mary knows she used to run all the time. Yeah, because she, and if you see, that's what she made me do. She made me tell. Now, quite often, if we develop in our abilities and we say to Spirit, oh, can you tell me your name? And then we're waiting for the clairaudient answer. And then we miss the signal. And we miss the clairsentient side. Then it's gone. Thank you for the confirmation. She always had an anchor, yeah? Yes, sinus there. But the thing is, if we miss it and we pull ourselves down, then we miss the signal. We're missing the information. Because so many people sit there and say, oh, I can't see these pictures. I can't see this. I can't hear that. Oh, I can't quite get it. Well, notice what's happening to you. Notice what's happening to you. And notice, and then make sure, by double checking, obviously, that you're on the right track. Can I leave that with you more, mate? Okay? Oh, you're trying to sort out the situation. Well, you're going, as you said that, Jack would say, oh, he went like that. He said, oh, one way or t'other, one way or t'other. Now, notice the way he said t'other. Now, that's another signal to say, that's what he used to say, t'other, t'other. So he'd use that terminology. And it's that simple. I say simple. I'm praying for this situation to forget it. Well, I'll tell you now, Mo, mate, and you might not like me for this, but the thing is, you have to make the decision. You can pray for guidance by all means, but you have to take responsibility. You have to make that decision. So work it out your way. And there's also someone this side, Momet, that has terrible headaches, and it's on the left-hand side. And Jack gave me that. Anyway, so I'll leave that with you. And hopefully some people can understand the way in which I'm working and whatever, because quite often one of the biggest barriers for people developing their psychic and mediumistic abilities. Oh, divine spark! Oh, wait! Love you all, love you both as well. We need to get together. We need to get together. Anyway, so do you think the spirit chooses who they do, or is it just something that comes naturally or learned? Do you think the spirit chooses who they do, or is it something that comes naturally or learned? All of the above. All of the above, Michaela. All of the above. You know, if you, it's natural. Learned, you can develop it. You develop your abilities. And when you're developing your abilities, obviously you're getting various different information from different people within spirit, or that will work with you, that will help you, that will guide you. And so it's all of the above. All of the above. Learned, in a way, it is natural. It's not unnatural. It's not unnatural to have that little voice within. It's not unnatural to have that. And a lot of people, especially with the clairaudient faculty, especially with the clairaudient faculty, people want it to be as if they hearing the voice externally, which is like objective clairaudience instead of subjective. Clairaudience quite often can sound like your own voice in your head. It can. People say, oh, no. Well, okay, say no. Because if it was external to the physical, it would be direct voice. It wouldn't be clairaudience. It would be direct voice. And there is such a thing as direct voice. And, Doris Stokes. I love Doris Stokes because she brought mediumship to the masses. Fantastic medium. But she used to say, I can hear a gesture. Well, with today's technology, all you have to do is stick a little microphone on your shoulder and everybody would be able to hear spirit. So it's clairaudience. It's where the sound patterns are projected just outside. And that's the way in which you hear it. And if you go to, spirit, so the question is, do you think the spirit chooses? Well, you go back to look, and I don't want to really get into religion because I'm too tolerant. I'm too tolerant to be a Christian. I'm just too tolerant. But if you go back to one of the Bible things, they say he spoke through a rock. Well, did the rock speak? Or with the knowledge that we have, was it clairaudience? Was it object clairaudience? And he thought the rock was speaking? Or, if you look at it, is spirit thinking, oh, the only way I'm going to get this through is to let him think that he's speaking through a rock? And if the information comes through, it's the information that's important, not necessarily whether it comes through a rock or whether it did this or whether it did that. It's the message that's important. It's the message and the information that's important. So some people might be sitting there, oh, I have to develop in this way. And what you're doing is putting barriers up. You were saying, I want it this way. I want it that way. I want to be able to see spirit. I want to test spirit. Yeah, by all means, test them. But give them a chance. Give them a chance. If they're sending you signals and you were missing it, then that's your fault. That's not theirs. They're sending the information. And quite often, when we learn something, just because someone says something doesn't mean it's right. If something is said to come from a medium that offends you, throw it out for the rubbish that it is. Because it is rubbish. If it offends you, it's rubbish. Now, I know a lot of working mediums work with different people and they work with this, that, and the other. As I said, this is my view. This is my view. People that work in spirit will work in a way with mediums the best way they can. So if that's telling you, I am a person in spirit, I am this person or I am that person, if that's the way they have to get the information through, that's what they're going to do. Whether that person is that person, that's another matter. So anyway, I've got another link, and have we got another question, Richard, by any chance? Oh, I might see. Oh, I got quite a few. Throw a few at me. Is it possible to see spirit on more than one occasion? Would they be trying to send a message? Well, you've answered yourself, Sarah, haven't you? Yes, it is possible to see more spirit on more than one occasion, because we do. If you're clairvoyant, you do. You know, somebody sees a person. If they come again, you're seeing them again. Would they be trying to send a message? Well, depends on what the message is. If someone's come in, then usually there's a message to it. But quite often we put the barriers up and say, oh, we want this, we want that. Oh, yes, we want this, we want this. And until they tell me that, I'm not going to believe it's them. But that's just putting barriers up. And yes, there is a message. Quite often there's a message. The message might be, I'm here. That's it. Doesn't have to be earth-shattering. Doesn't have to be a bunch of flowers. Doesn't have to be a birthday. Doesn't have to be a birthday. Doesn't have to be this. Doesn't have to be that. It can be as simple as, I'm here. That's the message. Because it's proof of survival, and that's the important part. It's proof. It's proof. You know, for whatever. So, yes, it is definitely possible to see spirit on more than one occasion. I see them all the time. A classic example about this, really. My brother passed. My brother and I were very, very close, extremely close, extremely close. We didn't live in each other's pockets, but I would phone him 3 or 4 times a week or whatever. And he passed. So obviously as a medium, I'm upset. I was waiting for him to come through. I was waiting, and I thought, I'll know when he comes through, because I'll have a chat. So he came through, and I think I was driving the van. I was driving the van, and he just started talking to me. And I said, oh, hello, Arv. Arvid his name was, by the way. I said, hello, Arv. You know, and it was about a week after he passed. It was about a week after he passed. I said, "Oh, hello, Alf. You okay, mate?" And he told me a few things that was private, which, yeah, okay. I thought, yeah, okay, this is him. This is you. And I knew it was him anyway. And I said to him, I said, "Oh, brilliant, Alf." I said, "Now you're in spirit. Um, will you help me with my mediumship?" No. Straight out. No. He wasn't going to help me. I thought, oh, okay then. I thought, oh, I had a little word with him. I said, "You miserable bugger." I said, why wouldn't you help me? He said, "No, I'm not going to help you. I'm not going to help you." He said, Sue can, who was his wife, who was in spirit. She will, but, you know, I'm not. And it's because he wasn't into this lock. He wasn't really into it. He understood it. He understood it. And he knew I was a medium. But straight answer, no, he's not there. I'm not going to help you. You do it by yourself. And really, that's life. That's life. And it's fantastic. You know, I think, yeah, great. There's plenty of other people that help me, but my brother ain't going to help me. But quite often, there are family members that help people, send messages to people. And talking about family members, I've got a dad here. I've got a dad. He says, "I'm a dad. I'm a dad. I'm a dad. I'm a dad," he said. I said, "I didn't have any teeth outside, down the bottom. The mirror image, by the way, don't forget. Left-hand side, didn't have any teeth there. And I used to suck on my gums a bit." He said, "I used to suck on my gums a bit." My name's Harry, by the way. He said, "My name's Harry." Now, if you notice, he made me do the gummy bit. And it wasn't until he did that he talked to me. "What age was your brother?" What, Marcus, when he passed? It's not relevant, Mo. The age of my brother's not relevant. And I don't want to give too much personal information, just in case I get a message sometime, which Deb gave me a message a few weeks ago. In fact, oh, how lovely to have that gift. And it's not a gift. It's not a gift, Helen. It's not a gift. It's not a gift. Look, I'll tell you now, and this is one thing. It's not a gift. It is an ability. And can you? Oh, your dad's Harry. Oh, Christine. Hello, Christine. All right. Say again, Richard. Sorry. All right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fine. Right. Right, Christine. Christine, your dad is Harry. Okay. Right. The thing is, Christine, if this is your dad, he didn't have any back teeth on the bottom left. Now, if your dad had teeth on the bottom left, I'm not communicating with your dad. That's what I need to know, because that's the specifics. My dad, Harry. Right, Anne. So we got Anne and Christine, and see, this is how we separate it now. This is how we separate it. So when you get, right, Anne, do you bite your tongue on your right-hand side? That's what I want to ask you, Anne. That's why, because they just made me catch my tongue. Okay, and when you're developing your abilities and you want to separate the message, you might have 2, 3, 4 people in there, and sometimes you know, especially an in-person seminar, no back teeth. Okay, on the left side, Christine. Okay, right, Christine, can I just work with you? And then, oh, okay, back and forth, back and forth. He's made me do this. He's do this. He's do that. He said, "Do you know, Christine, before I passed, and he's just said before the illness." So he was ill. He was ill. You know, sometimes we just die, don't we? But he said, before I passed, before the illness, all I was back and forth. And it's as if a part of his life was, oh, it was okay. He's not saying there's anything wrong with it. It was that there was like a repetition to things. So there was a situation that was back and forth. So try to give me a bit of feedback there. Yes, I do. Right. And I will be with you after I've talked to Christine. Okay. And I'll be with you after I talk to Christine. Okay. Right, Christine. So he's just made, anybody notice that? I just stood up. So, sorry, I didn't stand up at all. I sat up. He made me sit up and put my shoulders back. And the reason that he did that wasn't because it was him. It was because he had a mate who was a sergeant in the army. And this guy, no matter, this sergeant, 3 stripes, by the way, sergeant, this guy would always sit up straight and say, don't slouch down. And he used to use that word, don't slouch down. And he's put it down as if, like a sergeant major does. Back and forth to hospital. Okay. Now, see, I said a sergeant, 3 stripes. And then they've just made me say he spoke like a sergeant major. It's because he wanted to be a sergeant major and he never got it. He never got it. He made me speak like that. Yes, he was a mate, right? And he's making me point with my pen. He's making me point with my pen. And he's saying, the situation around you. And he's just said now, the sergeant, he's just said, young lady. Young lady. He's called you a young lady. Young lady. Now, for some reason, he's just given me September. Now, the first thing, if you're developing your abilities, irrespective of whether it's in a circle or when you're giving a message like this, he's just given me September. So I always say, what the hell have you given me September for? And sometimes they give me an answer, sometimes they don't. And he hasn't given me an answer, Christine. But so I then have to think September. That's what's going through my mind, because well, that's lovely. And the reason now, because he's given me the date, I've got to find out now. I've got to find out what this September is. So then I'm lateral thinking. And I'm thinking, is it this, is it that? And that's my mind, because they use your mind as well. It's not just all information from spirit. They use your mind. And then I've just used my mind, and somebody, I don't know who it is yet, just put a black hat on it. Now, my interpretation of that is a passing. So there's a passing in September. There's a passing in September, an anniversary of a passing in September. Your dad is giggling now, because you used to go, and he made me do that. and you should recognize that. He says, I forgot, he's telling me he forgot an anniversary. He said, I forgot an anniversary. I forgot an anniversary. Or so she thought. September's my birthday. Thank you for that. But this one, Christine, is a passing. So they give me a black hat. So it's not a birthday. It's not a birthday. Now, see, most mediums say, oh, yeah, thank you. Let me have that. No, not at all. It's nothing at all to do with the birthday. It's a passing. And now I've said that and stuck to my guns, they've just told me it's a lady's passing. So it's a lady's passing. So you should be able to get an anniversary of a lady's passing in September. Now, I wouldn't have got that if I had just said, oh, yeah, okay, September, yeah, okay, or whatever. It's a lady's passing in September. And it's best to leave it at that, because if it's no, it's no. And then if it's meant to be a week or so later and it comes back, all well and good, because it's that type of pressure that quite often the people want, oh, I need a yes. No, we don't need a yes. What we're doing is proving survival. We don't need yeses. All we do is need communication and try to prove who they are. Right. That's the situation around you, Christine. They just made me go, you are fed up about something. No ifs, no buts. You were fed up about something. And you need to focus, because they've just put my eyes out to focus. I don't understand the lady's pattern. Okay, that's fine. But if you ever find it, it'll be at the beginning of the month, before the 10th. Okay? Before the 10th. And I only got that information when I just read your answer. Okay? So I'll leave that with you, Christine. Could I speak to Anne, please? Could I speak to Anne? And the reason that they got me to speak to Anne is because they didn't make me bite my tongue again, but they just made me aware of pain. And there's someone this side, Anne, that's in pain at the moment. Okay? I'm not saying it's the tongue, that's just to get me to it. And again, anybody developing anything, understand the signals. And there's someone that's and I need a little bit of feedback, because they just indicating someone's in quite a lot of pain, and it's as if they're taking medication for pain management. And they've made me, now if you notice the way I did, they made me look up, and that was to the big screen, but they made me sort of put a frown on my forehead. And there's this surname of Morgan. There's a surname of Morgan somewhere, Anne, that you should be able to link with. And I'll tell you how I got to that, if you can take it. If you can't, then it doesn't make any difference, does it? And if you notice, my energy hasn't got, because I'm still really, really enthusiastic. Really, and I'm passionate and all this. But all of a sudden, they've just quieted me down a bit. And again, this is another signal, because this is a character that's coming through. Okay. And it's managing the pain. And this lady's telling me that she had sciatica. So there's a lady in spirit that had sciatica. Now, it's easy for my mind to cut in and say, your pain is sciatica, but she hasn't told me that. She's talking about, you can take Morgan. Okay, thank you. And again, if you notice what I got a name, I got this, they got me a family name, and I can tell you how I got to that is because they put this frown on my face, and they showed me an old teacher of mine, and her name was Miss Morgan, and she used to have like the worry lines and the little frown, and she was a bit of a strict teacher. She was. Oh, my mum. Okay. She was, and now they're using my knowledge of when I was a child to part of the character. Now, you were saying it's your mum. Now, if it is your mum, she was quite strict then. She was quite strict. You know, albeit I'm not saying she wasn't loving, but she was strict. There would always be a line that you could not cross. And they've made me talk like that, could not cross. Because if it is your mum, then she used to speak when she wanted to get something across, and really across, she used to emphasize every single word. And that's the character that's came through. Now, I've just said, look, I can take your character, but what about the sciatica? I've just thrown that question out. What about the sciatica? And they've just told me, Anne, that it's not just your back. It's not just your back. It goes down into your buttocks a little bit, and it is also in the top part of your thighs as well. And March the 4th. Somebody just said that. And again, now, if you notice, they were using the clay. Anybody who's developing, they was using the clairsentience of nature and get me to the person, but they wanted to give me a different tract, so they just shouted out a date to me. And they just shouted out a date. And then I ask them a question, what's that date? And they've just said, do you know, Charlie was a pain in the backside. That's the answer I got. Charlie. So there's a Charlie in spirit as well, Anne, that you should be able to link with. And he was a bit of a pain. He was a bit of a mourner. He was a bit of a, because he's just come forward now. And they're making me, you can't see it, but they're making me scratch my left leg. So I'm not saying this is you as well, Anne, but there is someone that has muscle cramps in their calf muscle, left calf muscle. Okay. Yeah. And they have to do that with their foot because they're making me do that with my foot. Hopefully you can understand that. And can I take another question? Somebody just said question. Somebody's shouting question. So somebody's got a question. Is there a way of turning spirit down at times so you can hear a message more clearly in a polite way? I'm not very polite with them, Johnny, to be honest with you. So turning spirit down, I say discipline. Look, people say, oh, you should be open to spirit all the time. No, you shouldn't. You've got a life to lead. I've got a life to lead. So you can hear a message and more clearly. Now, if you notice, Johnny, you look at the terminology you're using. Turning down spirit. No, you don't turn them down. What you do is just say, look, time's not right. I'm not getting it. Time's not right. But also you're putting the barrier up because you were saying to hear a message more clearly. If you really want to hear that message, don't just have a clairaudient faculty. Get the holistic view of it. Are they sending you a feeling? Are they sending you a picture? Are they sending you a thought? Are they doing this? Are they doing that? And then it's not just the clairaudient faculty. It's a holistic view of the message. In a polite way, yeah, of course you can. You can say, step away. Stop. How many people would say that? Or stop. When you get in communication, how many people would say stop? Oh, you can't tell spirit to stop. Well, I do. And I usually start with bugger off. Bugger off. Time's not right. Tell them. Discipline. 3 things you need to be a medium. Discipline. That's it. Discipline. You have to be disciplined in yourself. You have to be disciplined with spirit and disciplined in the way in which you lay the information down. Because quite often people say, I only give what spirit give me. Well, if you do, you're a fool. I'll tell you now. No matter whether you're a new medium, developing medium, or medium of 40, 50 years standing. If you only give what spirit give you, you're a fool. Because the problem is what you're doing is taking responsibility from yourself. It's our personal responsibility on how, as mediums, how we put the information down. And we can get it wrong. So talking about hearing or getting, I wouldn't say hearing the message more clearly, getting the message clear. We are fallible. So if you just repeat what you think spirit are giving you, then I would say, nah. Be more disciplined. Hopefully that answers that question, Johnny. And yes, I do. I turn them down. I'll tell you what. I used to have people phone me up 8 o'clock in the morning after a development class, and they'd say, Marcus. Oh, I've got this information. They woke me up at 3 o'clock and this, that, and the other. And I say, look, tell them, come back a different time. If they waking you up at 3 o'clock in the morning, they're interrupting your sleep patterns. You need your sleep, just same as anybody else. What you need to do is be disciplined and say, not now. But people don't want to do that because they got that spirit communication. Oh, I've got this, and all this, that, and the other. And then they used to write the information down. It was pretty good information. Relay it to me, then be on tender hooks for 2 or 3 hours and until they could phone me as the circle leader just to give me information. And I used to say, well, tell them to come back at 10 o'clock in the morning. If they're given that information, you're in an altered state of consciousness because you sleep or you're just partly in a sleep state, All you have to do, come to me Tuesday, 10 o'clock. That's when I'm going to sit. That's when I'm going to alter my state of consciousness. That's when I'm going to sit quietly and I'll be there for you. So if you want to give me that information, give it to me then, not 3 o'clock in the morning. Don't upset my sleep patterns. Don't do this. Don't. But a lot of people won't do that because they haven't got the discipline. They haven't got the discipline. And you don't have to speak to them in a polite way. It's nice to be polite, Johnny, but if you've got if you've got someone that's badgering you, what you do a deal with them. Say, look, I'll be ready on this time. I'll be disciplined, and I will. And don't forget, if you set a time at 7 o'clock or 10 o'clock or whatever time it is, make sure you were there. Make sure you were there because you were saying, this is when I'm ready. Just like when you sit in a development circle. If it starts at 7, it starts at 7. I can remember closing the door once. Come 7 o'clock, close the door, sat down. Somebody turned up at 10 past 7. Bang, 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 bang. Everybody in the circle was there thinking, oh, Marcus, you can open the door. No. That person was late. What they could do, they waited until after the circle and come in and give me all the excuses. Oh, blah, blah. Oh, you this, blah, blah, blah. You weren't there at 7. You weren't there at 7. So if you wanted to stay to the end of the circle, go and sit in your car and do your meditation, do whatever you do, and then come in. You don't have to be wound up about it. You were late. We were all late at times. But then your contract is at 7. So if you say you're going to start at 7, start at 7. Any more questions, Richard? I'm not being too controversial, am I? No, this is just normal stuff. This is normal stuff. Can children very young come through? Of course they can. Yes, Jamie, 100%. 100%. You get memories of children, and don't forget, when we say the communication that children come through, they come through as the memory of what they were, weren't they? That's not to say that they haven't grown in spirit, that they haven't developed in spirit, but it's not a physical body that they've developed, but obviously spiritually they've developed. But quite often we have a lot of children come through. And because we as mediums, or we as normal human beings love children, the energy they bring is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And usually, quite often, you can see the energy patterns, and it's the height of it. If you've got a 6-foot energy pattern in and around you, it's not going to be a child, is it? So yes, they can. 100%. Yeah. But by the same token, they come through as part of a team. They come through as part of the team, and this is where I suppose, as I said, I've got some very, very established mediums and psychics on tonight, and I don't want to be controversial. And we all have different ideas, and these are only my ideas. The thing is, people talk about guides. Oh, my guide did this. Oh, my guide told me to do this. My guide do that. Well, to me, that's just not being disciplined enough. If we have to say, my guide told me to say this, my guide told me to say that, then what we're doing is copying out our own personal responsibility. Because it's the information that's important, not who it's purported to come from. Have we got another question, Richard, please? Because I've got another contact as well. I've got someone who's making my shoulder twitch. When you see, hear spirit, do you see, hear in your mind's eye, or with your eyes, or with your ears? Would love to connect with spirit world. I'm getting confident in reading signs. Lacey, let me tell you straight away. 100% you're already. And this is what I'm picking up. You're already connected with the spirit world. Lacey, you are. That little chatter in your mind. That to and fro that you do. And quite often someone will walk in a room, Lacey, and you've even answered loud, sort of audibly to it, So where do you think that chatting's going? Where do you think it? You're chatting back and forth, back and forth. It's not always spirit. It's when quite often we sort out things in our own mind as well with the inner voice and everything else. All of the above, really. You say with your eyes and the ears. If you see it, with your eyes, if you see spirit as the form, then what you're doing, they are sending you the information. You are projecting that image as if it's the form. I can remember sitting in a. Now notice what I did. I just did that. Okay. So that's the contact. Lacey, what I've got here now. Okay. Somebody shoulder used to twitch there, and they used to do this a lot as well, and it was a nervous thing. I don't know if you can link with the gentleman that used to do that, but I'm just going to explain something. I can remember sitting in a spiritualist service, and this woman said, "I can see your grandmother building up behind you." So I had a look around. I went, "Well, she's not there." "I can see her building up behind you." I had another look. I thought, "There's something wrong here, because she ain't behind me. But what that medium was doing was projecting that image. She was seeing my grandmother, and she was projecting that image as if my grandmother was standing behind me. So that's like objective clairvoyance. Whereas, like you say, in your mind's eye, it's like subjective. They run a picture, and that's what you see, Lacey. You see it. You see it in your mind. You can see the picture patterns. You can hear the sound patterns in your mind. So basically, like I don't know about the clairsentience side, because I'm not picking up on that at the moment. I would assume you do sense a lot of things, but I would already say you're already clairvoyant, clairaudient. You do it in your way. Putting a tag on it is different. But if you can give me some feedback, that little chatter. Remember the time that you were sitting there and you answered a question or something. There was a question you said something and somebody said something back, and you answered it audibly. That's what I've just been told. And this guy, his shoulder used to twitch a little bit, and he's also just said, "Oh, tell her 3 birthdays in March. 3 birthdays in March." So. They're telling me, I didn't realize I had a link here, but they just told me 3 birthdays in March, 1 in April, anniversary of a gentleman's passing in September, and the birth weight. See, this is weird, isn't it? They're giving me months and months and months, and then they throw a birth weight at me. And I just asked them, "Why did you throw a birth weight? Why did you throw a birth weight?" And they just said, "A birth weight of £7 3 ounces." So if you can link with any of that, all well and good, Lacey. You say you're getting confident in reading signs. If anybody could, I'll give you an example of a specific type of a reading. Okay, so if anybody can just send me. Thank you, Mark. Makes perfect sense. I do speak out often. Say thank you. Yeah. So do it your way, Lacey. Okay, do it your way. Don't be tied down, because this guy's still here, and I thought he'd step back, but he's still here, and he's saying, the thing is, somebody said something to you, Lacey, about either psychic, mediumistic, or something that really didn't sit well with you. And the thing is, if it doesn't sit well with you, like I said, throw it out for the rubbish it is. Throw it out for the rubbish it is, because it's rubbish to you at that time. Months down the line, you might change your. Oh, who is it that's very dramatic around you, Lacey? So they want me to do big gestures, big gestures. And there's also someone that's either in what do they call them? Amateur dramatics, amdram. So like dramatics, and they just put there. You just chat away, and I would say just play about with the cards, Lacey. Which I think, you think, am I good enough? Am I good enough? Yes, you are. Full stop. And that's what the gentleman used to say when he used to finish something, full stop. If someone can just, I'm going to give you an example of a reading. And this is not necessarily mediumistic or psychic, but if somebody can just give me, have a look around you, where you are at the moment, and then just notice something. Like, I've just noticed, well, I'm not going to tell you what I noticed. If somebody can just put a few things up there, Richard. If somebody wants a reading, just look around your surroundings and just don't explain, just put something there. You know, whatever object you can see or that's come to your mind. Could you put a few up, please, Richard, and then I'll do an example of something, and then show you how. Yep. Yeah, you know, if someone say put a lamp up, or they've tree of life. Okay, that's one. I need about 3. So tree of life. Yeah. Plant. Yeah. And dog. Right. Okay. Could you go to the plant, please? Oh, gold. Oh, I'm loving this. I've got 2 now. Yeah. Could you go back to the person who put the plant? Right, Deborah. Right. I'm just going to give you an example. Okay. Usually, quite often, if you're doing a reading, you know, like a one-to-one reading, in-person reading, there's a thing called Hindu fortune telling. And what you do is just look at whatever's around you. And then whatever you notice, it would be the reader that notices it, as opposed to the recipient of the reading. But this is why it works both ways. It would be the reader that would notice something, and then that sends you along a track. And the thought process then says it, and then you start the reading that way. So as the plant, and because it's just a word, I haven't seen the plant, I'm thinking, why a plant? And what I see now with plant is not like the physical plant, it's a digger, you know, a sort of big mechanical digger. And they used to call plant hire, where you would hire some sort of plant, you know, it's big massive machinery. So that, to me now, the way they're taking me, everybody else would think like a little plant or a flower or whatever, but to me they've used that and said it's all about digging the footings. So there's something around you, Deborah. There's something around you. And I'm not saying it's building work, and it could go one or two ways. It could be building work because someone has had an extension or some interior work done where either a wall had to go on there, and either some rafters had to go on there and everything else. But also, because this reading is for you, Deborah, it's about the digging about. You need to dig around a situation. You need to look into a situation, because I'm not saying someone's done you really wrong or badly, but you know someone's gossiping. Give me a little bit of feedback on that, but just to see if I'm on the right track with that. And if I am, I'll expand it a bit. And that's where you're using your own abilities, and then if a contact is there, they will direct your thought patterns. So you and there's also a gentleman that died on the second heart attack there, bro. Okay, that I was just about to talk about someone. Yes, symbolic starting again with new foundation. Totally right. Well, the contact stepped in, and it's a gentleman, and he died on his second heart attack. And I was just about moving on, and he stepped in quite right. He went. He said, because I had my first heart attack, he said I didn't change. It frit me. Notice I said frit, not frightened, frit. So someone, I'm not saying it's him, someone uses that terminology as well. Frit. It's the way in which then he made me say that word. And someone this side, Deborah, he's just made me a bit dizzy. He's just made me a bit dizzy. There's someone this side's getting a bit lightheaded and a little bit dizzy. And also this, do you know that terminology when someone's hungry, but they also angry when they're hungry? Is it hangry? Well, what's that word, Richard? You know, when someone's hungry, they need something to eat, but they're getting a bit of anger. You know, they get a bit moody. And that's all to do with blood sugar levels. Blood sugar. So someone's on about that. And also someone's doing some sort of intermittent fasting as well. I know that because they just showed me, because I'm doing it. And they just showed me my eating window. Okay? So hopefully I'm not getting any feedback. Shall we move on to the next one, Richard? Gold frame. Right. Gold frame. Now, as I said, this is just the example of how to develop your abilities. Okay, so anybody will look at various different words, various different colors, various different crystals, and put a hungry. Oh yes, I have vertigo. All right. Oh, hungry. That's right. Yeah. Oh wow. Okay, Deborah, I'll be back to you in a second. Then let me just work with this gold frame, and then I'll be back to you because I was just about moving on. Right, Julie. The thing is, as I say, everybody will look at the color, look at this, look at the feeling, and we'll all put a different interpretation on there. So I've said, I've just said to Spirit, I said, look, can we just give some examples so people can understand things? And they just said gold. And what they did, they changed that gold, because I would have seen that gold frame if I was sitting there, and they said gold finger. And I thought, oh, right, where's this leading me now? And they said it's to the name Roger. Okay, because Roger Moore, right? Whether he was in Goldfinger or one of the other ones doesn't make any difference. It got me to the name Roger. So you should be able to link with Roger, the name Roger. And they've just put a strain in between my shoulder blades, and they just said, and somebody just said that it's as if you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders, Julie. So there's a situation around you at the moment that you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. You should also know a lady in spirit that, and she slowed me down and made me choose my words. Yeah, thank you for that little bit of feedback, because that's important. She's made me talk very slowly, because she is saying you need time for yourself. You do. That's what she said. You need time for yourself. It's as if you're a little bit frazzled, you're a little bit mentally drained, and you can't sort out everybody's problems, Julie. Okay? You can't. And that was all from the gold frame. Can I go just back to Deborah, please? Okay, thank you, Julie. They just made me move to, she said, turn your shoulder. Thanks, Marcus. I was trying to fit the art actually, but I couldn't take that. No, don't worry about that. Deborah, when I always say, I like to say, if you find him. I always say, if you find him, but they've just said, when you find him. He died in November. Not in like last November. It was the month of November. When you find him. They just told me to turn. They just said turn. So they want to show the right shoulder. There's mirror image. There's someone, there's a lady in spirit that used to do this. She used to just to comfort herself. She's saying, and she's put a green cardigan. She's just showed me a green cardigan. So that would be significant. And this would. I've just heard the word nan, N-A-N, nan. This might not be for you, Deborah. I don't know who this is. Don't worry about the guy, but I'll say if you find him or when you find him. But don't be so fed up, Deborah. Don't be so fed up. Okay. Things are on the up. Things are on the up. All right. So that's the thing called Hindu fortune telling, is when you're doing the reading and all of a sudden this nan's come to me now and she's put my eyes down. She said, I used to have terrible headaches. And I'm just saying, come on, who you with? And that's what the question I'm asking. I'm saying, who you with? Give me a name, address, telephone number. Give me something. And she's just done this again. She just said, oh, I used to do that. I used to comfort myself. I used to have terrible headaches. I used to have migraines. And one of my best things that I used, and she used to do this. One of the best things I always used to give him was rice pudding, and they used to love the skin on the top. So who's Nan? Both my mum and Nan passed, and thank you. I hope they're on the up. Okay, well, Nan passed. As I said, I'm not 100% sure this is your Nan, but if it is, please tell me, because you know, she had the cardio on this, that, and the other, and she also had terrible migraines or headaches when she was here. But if not, it's for someone else, and it should link. See, this is weird, because I say, give me a name, address, telephone number, and they fire a date at me, and they've just given me the 2nd of January as the birthday. So who on you can link with the 2nd of January as the birthday? Somebody just said, I've got a drinker now. I'm teetotal. I used to drink in the past, but I'm teetotal. And sometimes they use the clairsentience side of my nature and just make me feel a little bit tipsy. And I know that is a drinker. Right, okay. 2nd of January. Can anybody link with the birthday on the 2nd of January, Richard? If not, I'll take another question if they can. Come on, I need some more. I'm just telling them, say, come on. Everything fits. 2nd of January is her birthday. Okay, Sarah, okay. Brilliant. As I said, they just come out of the blue the 2nd of January. You know, name, address, telephone number, inside leg measurement, whatever. G up. She just said G up. So this person used to say that G up. She didn't have any teeth. She's making me go do the gum bit. She said, do the gum bit. So this is, if this is the right one, Sarah, please give me a feedback here, because she said, no, didn't have any teeth. Yeah, that's her. Okay. Well, you know her character, don't you, Sarah? You know her character. She's lovely. But, oh, God, she could talk the hind legs off a donkey. She really could. She'd chatter. And quite often she'd be chattering. And then all of a sudden now she's chattering in my mind, and she's talking about this and she's talking about that. And she said, well, it's good gossip, but, oh, don't tell anybody. She said, oh, Marcus, she said, oh, move towards the camera and tell him. Don't tell anybody, because that's the way I used to tell them. I used to get too close to them and just say, oh, don't tell them everything. Don't tell him everything because you'll be in trouble if you do. There's also someone that was, she's more than fab, Sarah. She's more than fab. It's all right saying fab. The thing is, everybody liked her, you know, because she was a little bit funny and she didn't take herself seriously, and she just sort of made the best of everything. She said, made the best of everything. But she's showing me this rice pudding again. She showed me, she said, oh, who is it that used to like to have the skin, she said, like to have the skin. There's someone this side that's got she's telling me now, and I say, she just made me bite my tongue. And I said, oh, is that symbolic? She said, no, she said, it's an ulcer. There's someone this side now, not to come, not last week or whatever, she's saying now has got an ulcer on the left-hand side of their tongue. And who is it, Sarah, that likes the little glass ornaments? 14th, oh, Feb. See now, talking about this Hindu fortune telling where you look at something, I just saw Fab, and they just said Feb. February the 14th. Oh, you might say, okay, my son is also, okay. February the 14th, which is Valentine's Day, isn't it? Is also a birthday. So somebody's birthday is on the 14th of Feb. She's just told me. And, oh, wow. You have something. Oh, who? You are feeling so proud about something at the moment, Sarah. You're feeling so proud. She said, oh, we're all excited. We're all excited. I don't know what's happened. And who is it? Who is it that sits on the chair and they put their feet back so their toes are bent underneath? You know, so their foot is like that. Their foot is like that. Like that. She's just made me aware of that. Also, there's someone this side. She's telling me that, oh, they're gonna have to have an operation on that knee. You know, you're gonna have to have an operation on that knee. And tell her, Charlie's there. Charlie's there. She went dance, cha. That I'm not saying it was her, but there's someone that used to like to go to dance, because she said she got me to the name Charlie. And again, anybody developing anything, notice the signals. She made me say cha, as if to get Charlie out, which Charlie's in spirit, but also that was to get to a dance. And he used to, yes, my friend's birthday, yes, my granddad's due this and these operation on knee. Right, a Charlie in spirit, but also a lady that used to love to go to the ballroom dancing, and her main dance was the cha-cha. The cha-cha, whatever the cha-cha is. I don't know where you're from, Sarah, but they're showing me the northern part of the UK. The northern part of the UK. I've been there. Wigan. Have you got a link with Wigan or anybody? Because I know how they got me to that, and I'll explain it in a second. Because they, oh God. See, I'm floundering now because my mind's cutting in like anything, and it's all over the place. My mind's all over the place because they got me to Wigan, and I relate to Wigan is Northern Soul, because I love Northern Soul. So they're showing me now all different music, and there's someone this side that really likes the Queen music, also likes the George Michael music, but there's also someone that likes the old Northern Soul type music. I don't know if you can link with that. I'm not getting any feedback, so we'll just move on. Okay, right. Next one, Richard. Are there any more questions? I'm from. Where's Mitcham? I don't know where Mitcham is. Where's Mitcham? I have to Google that. I haven't got a clue where Mitchum is. And they put in like a, I don't know, yeah. Anyway, accent and the way in which someone's talking to me now. Now someone's making my eyes droopy. Southwest London, Mitcham. So, well, it's a link with Northern soul music. That's for sure. Definitely. Okay, we are moving to some adverts.
MySpiritualDirectory.com is one of the fastest growing online free listing service. Our search directory offers geolocation feature, rating ability, review system, map location, customer comment, YouTube video, gallery, social media sharing, direct contact with the lister, simple online booking and payment system. It's free to register and use. It even creates your own mini web page, which you can update at any time, and yes, it's still free, no monthly or yearly fees. 100% free. Creates your own profile page. Add social media and other links. Add a mini gallery and a YouTube video. Rating, reviews and comments. Includes online booking and payments. So, if you're looking for a medium or a reader, even a church, maybe a healer, or any other spiritual service, then visit myspiritualdirectory.com.
Tomorrow night from 8 p.m., SPTV is joined by another guest who will be demonstrating their mediumship abilities by offering free readings to our viewers.
Oh, I just saw Sarah said my dad was fostered in Wigan. Even I'll take that one. Thank you very much, Sarah. And, the thing is, tomorrow night is Stacey's mum, Irene Renshaw. So don't forget to sign on and don't forget to share. Anyway, I need a couple more questions because, the thing is when we're working with spirit, I absolutely love working with spirit. And the thing is, we have to deal with the way they want us to deal with it. And I was saying, I was so excited tonight, and I'd say, I need a little bit more excitement. I want a bit more energy because I had a problem. So a phenomenal sitting with a medium years ago. My brother was holding my son. My brother was holding my son. My brother had grown to adult, but my son had not. Is this because my son never made it to the earth plane? Oh, wow. That is, well, the thing is, Sarah, the problem is that in the physical body, we grow to adulthood in the physical sense. So we go through our teenage years, adults, etc., etc. In spirit, we grow in a different way. So when children come back and give information, they come because we have the memory of them as a child. That's not to mean that they're only a 5 or 7-year-old. They'll come back with that memory for us to be able to relate to it or to get that evidence there. But spirit grow. We are growing spiritually. And quite often, let's be honest, the young ones are more spiritually evolved than us old ones because we got too much negativity and too many things that we go at. So, I'm just trying to read this again, but my son is not. Yeah, so look. When a life is a life, our soul is a soul. It's indestructible. We have concerns about the physical body. Spiritually, we're all growing. We're all getting that little bit closer to the God force. I hope that explanation is okay. Because, the memories of people and that love link never, ever goes away. Ever, ever, ever goes away. And we like to think of people growing in spirit as we do in a physical body. But there's no physical body. There's no physical body. They might send us memories of what we think they would be like, but there's no physical body. And the fact is, that they are there and the love links there, Sarah. Okay. Have we got another question, please, Richard? La 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 la. When we die, how many realms do we have, and where do we start? Oh my goodness, Robin. Well, realms. What realms? What realms? What realms? You know, some people say, oh, you know, there's all these different levels. There's this, there's that, and there's this, that, and the other. You grow spiritually, okay? And you will decide where you reside in spirit by the way in which you grow spiritually in this physical body. There's no higher, there's no lower, there's, you know, and again, I don't want to be controversial, but people say, there's, you know, do I go to this realm? Do I go to that realm? Do I go to, you know, the thing is, if you're Catholic, you can think about the purgatories that you have to go for until you're cleansing your soul before you get to heaven. I don't believe in heaven. There's no to me, there's no such thing as heaven, you know. And I don't want to be controversial. You know, the thing is, if you've got that Christian view of heaven and hell, then that's your responsibility. That's not reality. That's your responsibility, because you've either been brought up that way, or you're worried about something, or you're concerned about the things that we've done. When do we die? How many realms do we have, and where do you start? How can you say where do we start? You already started. We're evolving spiritually now. How we evolve, how we go forward spiritually. You know, you don't get the spirit and say, well, I'm going to this realm and what I want, because I've done this and I've done that and I've done that in this our physical world. So what I want when I go to spirit is I want to be in this realm. I want that. I want this type of house. I want that. And I want to go bingo on a Thursday. It's nothing physical. Robin, it's nothing physical. It's spiritual. It's that part of you that links you to the God force. And it's that progression of that soul that's important. Don't be stuck with realms. Don't be stuck with, what about I'm only in this realm. I'm getting the communication from that realm, or from this, or from that. It's the information that's important. And all the rest of it is to try to elevate someone to somewhere where they're not. The thing is, you will be in the place that you have earned spiritually. And if you want to put a name, I'm in this realm, I'm in that realm. Yeah, okay, do it. Say it. But to me, no, doesn't work. Doesn't work. All that is a physical thing that we want to put on there. We want to say that we are communicating, or we are doing, and we are in this realm because we did well. We did well. And that's ego. That's ego. And ego stands for ease God out. Be yourself, Robin. Just try to do the best that you can. Be spiritual. Be loving. And, you know, when we die, that should read, when we die physically, because we don't die. We don't die. This is the thing. When the body falls away and we die physically, the physical body dies, but we don't die. We are living. I mean, the fact that we communicate is the fact that we live in. So, and I don't want to make light of it, Robin, because there's a lot of misconception about different realms and different people that reside here and reside there and all this, that, and the other. And to me, some of it's nonsense. Some of it might have a little element of scratch the surface and do a bit of research. And just because people say things doesn't mean it's true. You know, and I say, if someone says enough nonsense, one generation is going to believe that, and then they think that's true. And if you look at any mystics, any spiritual leaders, they have to interpret in the language of the time. The language of the time. Have we got another one, please, Richard? Quick one. La 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 la. How far back generation-wise do you guys think would come through? Wouldn't know my mum's grandparents. Would they come to me even though I don't know them? Yeah, why not? Why not, Nicola? If they can prove who they are. If they can prove who they are, you might not know them. Who cares if you know them? If they give you evidence of where you don't know them and you didn't know of them that well, and then you did your family tree and you found out, can you imagine a medium saying, I've got this person, grandparent, this, that, and the other. They could give you all manner of details and you would say, no. And you'd go away and you think, well, that was a load of rubbish. And then all of a sudden, maybe a couple of years down the line, you find out something and you think, oh God, yeah, that is right. Oh God, look, I've checked that. And then it's right. And somebody's just made me do that. Just so, Nicola, the situation around you that you want to turn a deaf ear to, okay? That's just a quick one. Just turn a deaf ear to. You don't want to listen to the nonsense because someone's trying to manipulate you a little bit, Nicola, okay? Yes, they can come through, but to what end? It could be, look, let's get one thing straight. Mediums, I work as a medium. I've been working for years and years, and lots of people work as psychics, mediums, this, that, and the other. As a spiritualist medium, if I prove survival, I have done my job. That's it. Not guidance, not this, not that, not this. You're going to move house, you're going to do this, that, and the other. If I've proved I've communicated with someone, I've done my job. And then it's up to you as an individual to structure your life around that knowledge of a continuation of life. That's it. Nothing mystical, nothing earth-shattering. You need to change your life around that knowledge. And it is that simple, folks. It is that simple. You know, yes, you can get guidance. Yes, you can do this. Yes, you can get that. Live your life. Live your life. Live your life the best way you can. And try to serve in some way. Try to serve. So, there we go. Hi, Marcus. Just a validation from your last message you gave me from your last live. You mentioned about someone who lost part of their finger, not the whole finger. I remembered my late father-in-law lost. Thank you very much, Susan. This goes back to just our previous message. It's not about yes. It's about, quite often we just lay it down there. So anybody developing, anybody working, this, that, the other, stick to your guns. If you got that information, you know it's right. Stick to your guns and just lay it down. And as long as you lay it down in a responsible way, hopefully. Thank you very much for that. So that's very kind. That's very kind. I can remember a lady once seeing me at where I was at like a craft fair, and she came up and she said, "You are Marcus, aren't you?" And I said, "Yes." She said, "You give me a date." I said, "Oh, well, okay then." And she said, "You're a medium, aren't you?" I said, "Yes." She said, "You give me a date." And I couldn't take it. And it was down in Cheltenham Church with May Scott. And I couldn't take it. And guess what? I said, "What?" She said, "My granddaughter was born on that date." I said, "Oh, that's okay then." I didn't know what the date was at the time and didn't need to know. And that was about 12 years later. So, thanks very much, Suzanne. And this is why, as someone that's developing your abilities, just lay it down in a responsible way. And then hopefully at times you'll get that little bit of validation. And healers quite often don't get any validation. Doesn't stop them healing. Why do some people that you have loved never come through? Because they don't want to, Christine. Why should they? My brother, classic. I don't know if you at the start, I said to him, I said, "Oh God, you're in spirit. I was excited. I said, "Will you help me with your mediumship, with my mediumship?" And he said, "No." Well, so, they might not want to come through. It's, if they don't want to, they don't want to. And it's not that they don't love you. And I would also say, we say that they've never come through. What? Maybe not. You've never had the information you want. That's not to say that they haven't sent you messages. It's not to say that when you're walking through a town or you're walking through a countryside or whatever, you get that thought of them and then you notice something that they would have liked or whatever. That could be the message. That could be the message. They don't have to come and say, oh, my name is this, my name is that. If they link in with you, Christine, which I'm sure that quite often well, what I'm picking up, you're very clairsentient, so you just sense things. You know, doesn't have to be the words, doesn't have to be the pictures. You just sense it. You just know. The Welsh call it second sight, and you just have that knowing. So they might not be coming through in the way you want them to, but it's not to say that they haven't come through. And some people just don't. If they don't want to, they don't. Any more, Richard? Okay. Well, thank you very much, everybody. That's where we've come to the end of the evening. I hope you've enjoyed this. Something slightly different. I haven't been as controversial as I thought I would be, to be honest. I've been quite calm. Deb will be telling me off. She's saying, well, that wasn't the real you, Marcus. You're usually stronger minded than that, or strongly opinionated than that. My dad and Nan came through at every opportunity. Brilliant evening. Thank you all. Thank you, Sarah. And they do, sometimes they do. They come through and quite often give us messages of encouragement. Debs. We'll be working together soon, Debs. We'll be down in Canley. So hopefully you've enjoyed the night. By all means, send a couple of comments. If you haven't enjoyed it, be yourself. Say, yeah, you haven't enjoyed it. You don't agree. We don't have to agree, And the thing is, what I would say is do your own research. Kelly, my Kelly. I say my Kelly. She's not my Kelly, but we have worked together. So, and I saw a lovely photo of Kelly, or a post of Kelly doing St. Michael's Church, wasn't it? Yeah, hopefully it is interesting, Stacey. As I say, we've all got different views. We've all got different opinions. Not to say that I'm right, but I'm right for me. Absolutely loving it. So interesting. And delve in, question every single thing. Absolutely everything. I always do. And then you then form different opinions. I can remember having having an argument with a guy in an open circle, and it was about 20 years later he came and said, Marcus, I do realize that you weren't doing it just to be controversial. You were doing it to make me search more. And that's what it's about. Anyway, thank you very much. And good night, everybody.